And I think that game number 1 started out with a really good showing of why About took it. And then it slowly turned back in favor of Fengyue. So I am going to be keeping a little bit of an eye on that series progression as we move through.
Game 2 draft here between Top Esports and Team WE. Top Esports immediately banning the Gwen, signaling that they might want to go for a tank, maybe that Scion, and kind of continue the strategy that worked for anyone's Legend and take the good top laners that the top laners that Cube is really good at away from him and force him onto other things. The Varus, while outside of lane, it did pretty well. In lane, very muted.
Yeah, and I could very well see this Scion just get locked in here, B1, or Red 1 even. It's not
the Scion in the back, bro.
Yeah, not unfounded. And 369 definitely got an opportunity to pick that up for himself. Instead, gonna be the Vi locked in for NaiYou, which to me feels a little bit early, I will say.
Yeah.
We've still got champions like Jarvan, Wukong, Trundle. There are just so many different brawler junglers that you could go for. I don't think that you needed to take the Vi this early on. For WE though, are they going to take the Gambit? Is this Scion lock immediately and then match with your jungler, or is there another solo laner that we're particularly looking for? Do you think that Corki is a really big pick down on that bot side that I'm expecting to see taken quite early? As
whoa,
this feels a little bit early in itself to be going for the Viego early doors.
Yeah, I'm just so surprised at what Team WE is doing. We have given away Vi Ahri. There's the Scion now. I mean, you know, I understand if you decided to take the Ahri, they could still play Talia, but so far, Top Esports has mogged Team WE in the first 2 drafts. I mean, honestly, I'm willing to say that Top Esports, they could have 2 really bad picks in the back half and they're still winning this draft.
I mean, as long as they pick an AD carry and a support, I think they're going to be okay, which is the the really sad situation. I mean, the Gnar getting locked in here, it's a good matchup into the Scion, so Cube going to have a little bit of control through that early game once again, but we saw that 369, you know, had a rough laning phase theoretically up against the Varus in game number 1. That never really ended up being shown outside of like one instance of a 2v1 that was really badly coordinated by Top Esports. If we look at the composition though, what these two teams are looking to offer, whenever you see Viego, you think reset. So champions like Jinx, champions like Ahri are things that you want to try to take away. Now obviously the Aurora got locked in, they're expecting this to go into the mid lane regardless. So taking the Ahri isn't the biggest thing, but it does mean that the Aurora can't then be flexed up to that top side. In terms of reset marksman, you know, you've got Jinx, you've got Tristana, so those two picks, something that could get picked up here for About as a little bit of a fringe off the meta AD carry if they wanted to go for this snowball style composition. For Top Esports though, they're full dive. Kaisa, yeah, there we go, needs to be banned. I like the Ash ban as well, because they've then got that long range engage. It's going to be interesting to see what Top Esports look for now. This is a really decent Misfortune angle with setup from Ahri and Vi, with the Scion to stand as a frontline and try and buy space. And for JiaQi, Misfortune has just been a really big pick. So I'll be interested to see whether WE try and take that away, because it is a really good upfront burst champion that does help you get those first kills.
If you take it away, I think Renata goes up pretty heavily in importance for either side. You can get a lot of great value out of an ultimate trying to either disrupt WE or Top Esports. Our setup for Viego is not really there in terms of CC. We have the setup in terms of damage. Rel does fix that up a little bit, especially with the Viego Heartbreaker, but does mean that you're leaving Misfortune on the table. We'll see what Top Esports wants to do. I again think that this Renata would be a really nice pick for them.
We'll see if that's if they're going to lean into that. I think Renata doesn't help with the dive is the only part that I disagree with. Everything else you mentioned is really good, but I don't think it synergizes nicely with the rest of their composition. Instead, they lock the Lucian, which I think pretty much confirms that they're going for something that's going to be more geared toward backlining. The Braum, again, not necessarily an amazing engaged champion, so not the worst pick, but equally a very good pick into the Rel. So I'm by no means surprised that this Lucian Braum duo does get locked in. And then if they're not going to go for the Misfortune, they are very heavily playing into the About carry instead of the Monki carry. MF is going to be much more geared toward getting the first kills, allowing Monki to snowball. This Azaya here, enables you to play for hyper carry, play for a bout. He's got the ulti to get rid of cease and desist. He's now got an ability to do damage with those feathers, despite the fact that Fengyue would have been stood there with an unbreakable. So I think it's a really good pick. It's a nice adaptation from WE, just to say, actually, if we'd have taken MF here, we'd have kind of bodied ourselves. So they take the Xayah. It's going to be something that's a little bit more flexible through the game. And it means that About can actually play versus this dive-centric team that Top Esports have got.
Hey, good for About. You're really relying on Karis and Monki to be this two-man unit. And Karis is saying, hey, I'm going to burst them out with my entire combo. Monki, it's up to you to do the rest, right? Whether you're going in and you're the first one to land the CC, or you are landing the Heartbreaker on the way out. I mean, there is just such low CC for Team WE unless you're in specific circumstances, right? You need a Gnar ultimate to be in Mega Gnar. You need a root coming out from the Xayah. And I think if those are two of your three main CC abilities outside of Rel, that's not good enough. Nope. In a professional setting, that is not good enough. You are not going to be able to take advantage of mispositioning from the enemy with that. I'm very worried for them.
Yeah, and you think about, okay, who is it that's most likely to misposition? Well, it's a Braum who's going to put up an Unbreakable and block a load of damage, or it's a Sion who can just innately take a load of damage with his W shield anyway. So, yeah, unless they catch, the primary targets, which is the same case for every situation or every game, I don't really think this is going to go too well.
Game 2 of this best of 5 series, win or go home. Top Esports already up 1-0, looking to make it 2. All right. You know what? I'm willing to call it on the Gyos here, honestly. If we Gyio, we are Gyioing far too late. Well,
yeah, exactly.
Team WE, remember that 2025 was the summer of WE. Things were looking so good for them. They finished 4th in that playoff series after beating up on Top Esports, but the tail end of 2025 was not the same for these guys. They fell flat. They didn't make it out of Knight's rivals, and I think there was a lot of excitement coming in for a new look WE, despite the fact that they kept Karis and Cube, which many were criticizing. Fair play to WE and Karis specifically, who has played a lot better to start the year. We really need to see him show up in this series.
Absolutely. And I think that is a key indicator here, as you mentioned quite rightly that the two pieces of the puzzle that they kept were maybe the two pieces, or the two of the three pieces that they kept were parts that we were considering being most worth of removal or of change at the very least. So with Cube on this top side, obviously a pretty decent start to game number 1, but wasn't able to have that impact as we moved into the later stages of the game. For Karis himself, didn't feel like he was necessarily losing the game on the Azir, but did find himself occasionally caught by a tempered fate, did find himself unable to be as successful with those Azir shuffles as he might have liked. And you look at the pieces that they bought in, well, about one rookie of the split. So clearly they picked some good pieces to try and go for. And Taeyun finding his way to the LCK will be missed. So we will see if WE can right these wrongs as we move into the rest of this playoffs. A reminder that every time these two teams have played since 2025, it's gone the distance, right? Split 2 playoffs went the distance. Split 1 of the play-ins for this, again, full best of 5. And then even the best of 1s through the back half of 2025 as well. Both best of 3s going to 3 games.
See if Team WE is able to keep that trend up. Down on the bottom side, looking a lot better for Top Esports this time around. And, that's no shade against WE. You were going up against Lucian Braum, which is very difficult. Karis with some nice sidestepping there as Monki is going to look to take advantage of the opportunity. Great job there by Monki, and he gets first blood.
Yeah, not sure if that was a predicted flash by Monki or whether Creme just kind of flashed into the back of that stun. Monki's able to find himself Crab on the bot side, gank into the mid lane as well, and 400 gold immediately up over his counterpart. Creme there, if he'd hit that charm, might have been a solo kill. If he misses it, he then dies.
Yep, that's just the dichotomy of how Lee can go sometimes, especially when you are up so far and aggressive. An early miscue from Creme, resulting in the worst nightmare for top esports. Now let's see how Monki can push the pace of this game. Remember, you're relying on him to get a lot of this initial CC off. Without the flash, it does mean that it's going to be a little bit harder if he wants to try to make a play.
It is, but this is one of Monki's sort of go-to pocket picks as well. I mean, it feels like he's got a lot of them between Trundle, Wukong, and now this Viego. But this is a pick that we've seen him, yeah, exactly, that we've seen him pilot a good couple of times before that nobody particularly in the LPL is looking towards. So there is that element of, well, does somebody know? But now on this bot side, is he going to know?
Oh no, he's not a knower, and he is going to fall. Just like the chicken camp, NaiYou picks up that one, and we'll get his chickens too.
No flash, so this Viego absolutely homeless there as a really quick little roam from Fengyue, and NaiYou does give over. Very nice kill and a really good way to disrupt this Viego from finding that early game snowball. Now you can see on this bot side, credit to JiaQi this time, doesn't fall while his support is making plays happen. But this is once again an iteration of support and jungle going blow for blow and making sure that as a duo they can make things happen. Level 6 hit for Cube.
Okay, Silent Ultimate to disrupt, but Cube is going to pull him back in. He's going to miss that Q, get knocked up on the backside here. 369 says, I'm ready to fancy a fight. We'll shield up, but walk away. We saw an on-the-way ping from Team WE onto that Dragon, and we're seeing another one here. It looks like Monki wants to pick this one up, aware that NaiYou is up in this top side. This does mean that if Cube sticks around...
He's got no flash. He has got flash, but he's got no vision in this brush.
Oh, Cube! So. Cube! Brother Cube, what are we doing? They've solved the Rubik's Cube early on.
And again, this is another iteration of WE getting Dragons down on the bot side, Cube not respecting that he's the weak side, and does end up falling. It's not even like he's, you know, doing super well on this top side. He was down 10 CS anyway. 369 able to catch the majority of that wave, then push this one in. He's going to get a free reset without using that teleport. He doesn't have it available to do so. So this is a really easy time for him to go back to base. Looks like he's working towards that frozen heart, and for 369, that is going to make a massive deal of this Nars damage output, right? Look at the damage that the Cube has built. He's got a Doran's Blade, a Cull, and then an extra long sword, where for 369 he's got a bunch of armor already, and he's even working towards some boots to be that little bit more nifty.
I think the worst part about that particular play is there is not really any late game scaling on either side that we're really worried about. So these Dragons are going to be contested moving forward after this first one. You really want to be able to get as many of them as you can cleanly. Another kill going over to NaiYou means that he's going to be a little bit faster to that Sundered Sky to be able to try and sustain through for these fights. We're sending the top esports bottom lane up top, so a delayed lane swap 7 minutes into the game here as NaiYou is going to steal away Monki's blue.
Yeah, and in lieu of these Tendy spawning up on the top side, the Void Grubs will be up in about 50 seconds time. It looks like top esports are looking to put their powerful pieces on this top side of the map, ensure that we are able to secure those for themselves, and make sure that WE, having taken that early Dragon, can't go for complete neutral game dominion through the early stages of this match. Both of our junglers actually, the two people to have kills on the board, making the most of their showcases through the early stages of this game. Obviously with a quick pick into the jungle for NaiYou and Fengyue, as a good culling comes out as well. He's going to chunk out Yaoyao and Cube. No TP available for the Mini-Gnar, so he's going to have to take a long road back to this top lane once again. That's the second time that he's been forced to base with no TP, not able to push the wave in, and will find himself in trouble.
And this is so huge for JiaQi, right? I mean, we're talking about a scenario where it's going to be difficult as Lucian Brum to get some of these kills on About and Yaoyao because they're going to play a little bit safer. So anytime that you can say, hey, we're going to shove out this top laner and be able to try and squeeze out any plates that we can, really, really good to make sure that your Lucian is strong enough in the mid game to dominate mid lane waves.
Yeah, and let's just take a look a little bit at what actually the difference in these top laners is. Because as we look at that bot side, 369 knows that he's not the point of the map that has control. And Creme as well, fancy feet.
Oh, the charm is there, and he
good.
dodges. as well. Creme does have 2 charges left of that ultimate if he wants it. Meanwhile, NaiYou is going to get shoved out. Cube says, hey, let's fight. Fengyue down to half HP, but guess what? NaiYou is going to be ready to rejoin shortly as JiaQi is auto-attacking away. Good ultimate from Cube. The interrupt is going to come through with that cease and desist, and it makes it a 1-for-1 for now. JiaQi's going to dash away as Yaoyao's on his horse and is headed for the next one. There's that between worlds. NaiYou gets pulled in, forced to flash away. It's the weirding. NaiYou can't really get away. The heartbreaker there. JiaQi going to be able to get under the turret. Team WE get a couple kills back.
Yeah, a couple of missteps there by Top Esports. It was a 2-for-1 in favor of WE. Top Esports do take the grubs. Do you think that NaiYou could have got out there, had his flash the whole time? If he'd have channeled his Q or flashed first then channeled Q, he'd have been able to get away from the Magnet Storm, but ends up falling there regardless. And again, I actually think that if we actually see NaiYou commit there, Cube probably just falls a lot earlier. Instead, he has to walk all the way round. He lets his Vault Breaker run out, which does end up costing his support's life.
Picture in picture. We are going after about.
Goodbye. He
is under the turret. The barrier is there, pulling back the feathers, but that is not enough. Great balancing of turret shots there from Fengyue and 369.
Yeah, Winter's Bite there. Necessary from Fengyue to snipe the kill out, but definitely still quite funny just to see a Q from downtown as About did pretty much everything he could do to try and get away from there. Uses every summoner spell plus his ulti. Unfortunately, still does go down, and you know the Sion Braum duo proving to be the massive Hell for Leather power punch that maybe Top Esports need in this instance. It's that Frozen Heart being finished already for 369, so Cube is going to struggle. Get a little bit of a look at how this happened to begin with. Looks like he just spotted it. Yeah, ulti lands. Okay.
Hey, he said, you know what? I'm gonna go home. You know what? I'll go pick up my About kill real quick, and this is what happens when you leave an AD carry on an island sometimes. Yeah. All right, Dragon is coming up in 5 seconds. Top Esports already in position here on this bottom side. Creme has the inside track here in the mid lane on top of it. Oh, if Top Esports wants it, the world is their oyster. NaiYou is going to be one that started up, but Team WE are always willing to fight for objectives.
They are. Now, as a contrast to game number 1, I actually think that WE are going to be scaling that a little bit better into the mid and to the late game. So giving up a Dragon, not the worst thing in the world. I do think that it's Top Esports who are a little bit pressured by time to try and make something happen here. Given that they've got this Lucian, very difficult champion to navigate during the late stages of the game. Fengyue, hello, not an engaged champion. Can't just be ripping those and expecting them to connect. Now WE are going to look for a response.
It's a big cooldown. Yeah. Yaoyao is caught right now. And he's going to get that Magnet Storm down, but it's not going to do a whole lot. Now they turn onto About. Well, About has no ultimate to speak of. And it's another disaster fight. Top Esports pick up 2 more.
I mean, that is not good. By the WE bot lane, I'm going to be honest. Yaoyao gets deer in the headlights as he sees so many people so close to one another and thinks, should I engage? Can I engage? Should I engage? Can I engage? And then by the time that he decides to do anything, he's already died. So now in the mid lane, Creme needs to be careful.
Between worlds, Karis got charmed up. Creme has no mana left. Will use his last charge to try to escape. And he will successfully get out.
Okay, Karis uses his flash there, but I think if he plays that a little bit more slowly, you can get Monki in or not have to burn your flash at the very least to get out. A couple of really bad missteps from WE here is costing them very dearly. Now a 3,000 gold lead opened up just after that Dragon goes, and I mean, they spot him, but...
Alright, Creme getting the charm. NaiYou out of the brush. He had the item that says my jungler shows up to save the day. And Monki falls for the second time. NaiYou is 5-1.
Now, again, Top Esports have got to continue snowballing here, but at this rate, they should be able to look to close this game out as well with first items already on the board across this entire roster. You're expecting this to very quickly become this snowball into a Rift Herald in 2 minutes. They've kind of rolled a Cloud Soul, which, you know, for me always still feels like a little bit of a low roll, but it does mean you can get around the map that little bit faster. I do think that slow resistance versus Narcus is going to be something to be considerate for. I mean, it's not going to be completely game-changing, but you can see how for 369, with all of this AD that he's built up, 1 Q and an auto attack, he's able to take half of Cube's mini Nar HP.
We are 13.5 minutes into this game, Roodood, and it is a 3,500 gold lead for Top Esports. They have punished every single one of Team WE's flaws. Their flaws have been well on display for a long time. About is getting called down to low HP. Again, their willingness to fight all the time really bites them in the behind, and has done so here in game 2.
You know, situations like this, I find it better to be positive. He's going to force the ulti out. Okay, never mind. But barrier and locket being used. Karis.
Yeah, he's got no flash. He's got Between Worlds. Gets a little bit of extra damage back onto Creme, so foils a gank attempt. Yaoyao on
failing.
He's on an island. We'll stun up Fengyue. Monki is here, and we are between the turrets. We want to go for this. Magnet Storm is there. Heartbreaker takes out Fengyue. JiaQi has to kite back toward his jungler. There's the flash. They mark him up. They stun him up, and they take him down. Karis with the shutdown.
Yeah, you know, after Yaoyao and About just decided to toss their lives around the dragon, JiaQi and Fengyue decided that they do the same. It felt like Fengyue was really leading that, and JiaQi wasn't fully on board. By the time that JiaQi decided to do damage, his support had already died. There was already a reset, and that then meant that the play was already over. Monki able to capitalize, though, gets 2, honestly, relatively free kills. And we'll get to see whether or not they can continue with this.
I know these bot lanes are similar, Roodood, but that's not exactly what I meant by that. Rift Herald spawning here for top esports to take if they want it, but it looks like not. Okay, NaiYou was waiting there, trying to determine what he wanted to do. Instead, that means it'll be a pretty free take as Monki's on the bot side continuing to farm. We do see a lot of on-the-way pings on the top side, though.
I do like this proto belt from Karis, again, up against a team that is quite dive-oriented. That extra little bit of mobility could work quite well for him to just get away from a VIQ. Maybe just do a little bit extra work in terms of escaping a dangerous situation. But you can see here, down on the bot side, 369, very, very close to being able to take down this whole turret. He can stand and face tank Cube, who does now have that Trinity Force, which is going to be a pretty big deal. But I think until you've got that Black Cleaver, we're not expecting great things.
Well, that's a flash out of Cube with that Scion ultimate, and top esports descending like a pack of wolves. The turret's going to go down, and Cube is going to be the next target. He's going to land 2 with his ultimate, but Creme's charm, it's just too much for Cube to handle. It's just a matter of what can Team WE get while he goes down.
So some plates in the mid lane. They are going to get plates on that top side as well. JiaQi able to get a little bit of gold from that mid lane wave. I do think that WE, obviously, losing out their top lane are never great, but this is a situation they found themselves in many times before. Anything extra remains to be seen. Karis gets hit.
Didn't get that last auto attack off the stun Karis before the culling started, so JiaQi missing out on a lot of damage there. Rift Herald going to get spawned up while the dragon being done by NaiYou, so this should be able to battering ram down the mid-tier 1 turret as top esports continues to make proactive plays around the map. Meanwhile, 369 versus Monki for the moment. He's going to turn around and land a knock-up and not actually get rooted. What do you want to do with 369? You're just going to mean mug him down.
Yeah, and genuinely just like one step back, dodges out on the W from the Viego. Summoner heal expended by Fengyue there. Does have spellbook, so it doesn't really matter if he burns a summoner spell because he can just swap to something else nice and easily and then have different utility ready and available there. But Dragon gets picked up, mid-tier 1 turret gets picked up, and this is all a sequence of plays based on that pick on Cube down on that bot side. Yes, the initial response was good from WE, but they then had to respond to top esports. It was this constant game of chess that ultimately top esports had the last move in, and that they were able to find something pretty decent out of. 369 committing quite deep into the bot lane here. He's going to have to walk back before he can collect the experience for these creeps, but overall, good to go fishing. Unfortunately, didn't find an R.
Things with around the 18-minute mark of this game. Things have slowed down a little bit for top esports.
I do not
really want to go attack 369. Doesn't seem like it, but they're going to try and force this one. They do get the flash out of 369 just to be safe, but you need to start getting kills anyways.
Yeah, now Monki is 2 items on this Viego here. Crack and Slayer finished, plus Sundered Sky. Now, back when we first had these 2 items put in together, couldn't tell them apart. Fortunately, we've had a little bit of time. There is a distinct difference between them. Hasn't stopped Monki from building both of them, though, as Cube going to walk up, probably hop away, as he takes 1 extra plate. But again, it is top esports who need to push the pace of this game. They've got a 3k gold lead, which in the current season feels actually like quite a lot, and like you should really be quite advantageous with the JiaQi with 2 full items as well.
Okay, Yaoyao looking for that engage, and it's a pretty damn big one. Teleports are going to be coming in, but Yaoyao's going to be the first to fall. Culling going to come down as well. About's going to drop his ultimate. Cube is in the middle of everybody, but he's a very baby Gnar. He's a tiny boy, and he goes down. He's not able to take out JiaQi. Karis is going to have to retreat to the safety of his top turret, but Creme is ready to run him down. He will not land the charm. And Karis is on an island. Meanwhile, NaiYou and 369 are fighting. Monki trying to heal up as best he can. Heartbreaker lands, and Monki is going to be able to get the reset without getting the kill. 369 going to be the next target as Karis shows up using that proto belt, putting it to good use. 369 falls, and Monki's going to take him over too. Fengyue is on just a sliver. We are Viegoing. There's another one. Monki moving forward. Tags up JiaQi. He's stunned, looking for more. Right into a charm. The turnaround, and Monki is still alive. Karis is on a sliver, and top esports can't close out the kills.
Looked like a pentakill, but JiaQi and Creme say no. A great charm on the landing there saves this duo from falling. You know, if he repossesses the Lucian body, you have to expect that Creme has to fall, at the very least burns his flash as well. We know that Viego's a champion that can absolutely chase over walls. But top esports here starts off actually quite good for them, despite the fact that Yaoyao lands this 3-man engage. Where's the damage? About's here, and look what he's wailing into. He's got an unbreakable in his face. He gets down 1 or 2 autos before he has to back away from a TP. And what actually happens here is top esports win on the top side of this fight. But then 369 and NaiYou just chase way too deep. They get About's flash, but stick around far too long. It actually gives time for Monki to swing this back around. A slightly poorly positioned Q from 369 does cost them dearly, because it allows Monki to just go back in. And then we start to see these resets coming through. That 2-item Viego putting in work. He's the one getting these bonus damages down and able to chase on further and further. Flash Heartbreaker finds another one. You can see that here, look at the landing for Creme. Spots where the ulti's coming down, charm immediately. This saves the play, and honestly, they're very unlucky not to find a little bit more. If that W had have connected in time before the summoner heal comes through, then they take down 1 and can maybe turn onto About as well. I think that this game now just got a lot closer, and again, with the burden being on top esports to be the team to push this game to the end, it does bode well for WE.
A really great sequence by Yaoyao for that engage, but also that lock-in at the end to save Karis. Now Team WE might be looking for a dive opportunity 30 seconds before the dragon is coming up, but 369 is able to clear out that minion wave. One thing I wanted to talk about is the overextension from top esports was very Team WE-esque, and perhaps we're making more aggressive moves here as Creme is teleported into the WE jungle on the bottom side. They want to get this soul point for themselves.
Yeah, and I think that they're an early Elder, while they've still got a gold lead, and I say early Elder, it's going to be 30 minutes or so before it actually spawns up, but it is maybe the best that they can hope for. They kind of need to keep this gold lead, and you can see now that Creme is sort of investing in that with the Medjai Soul Stealer here. Only 5 stacks, but feels like they know that this next fight is going to be do or die. WE, we've been here before. Now NaiYou doesn't have a great big global ulti to get there.
And this teleport that screams, guys, we're doing the Baron, we're doing the Baron. They do it again. Now it's 369 all alone. Monki peels off. About and Cube are still hitting this thing, though. Fengyue is coming here to cut off. And here's the rest of top esports. They still have a turnover on the top side due to Team WE, and now they're grouped up on the top side of the river here. Team WE should be able to walk away, but top esports have the inside track toward this mid lane.
Need to be careful that they don't get caught out here. They spot WE recalling, but he needs to be careful not to dash his way into all 4 members. They're currently just buying time, waiting.
Anyway, stunned up. NaiYou is here, but it looks like they'll think better of it and head to the crab. What a weird sequence.
Yeah, just waiting for JiaQi to find that tier 2 turret in the mid lane. I mean, the map does feel a little bit weird, like you say. WE still have this tier 1 turret to try and retreat back to, which gives them a pretty good bastion to rally behind. I think that top esports do need to try and work that one down. It looks like that's the next play here. You can see 5 members strong on that top side whilst they'll be committing to the bot lane.
Has his ultimate's going to go over the wall. Yaoyao going to be the first one targeted. Another charm that doesn't land. Pulling everybody in with a Magnet Storm, but Yaoyao will fall regardless.
So they'll take this tier 1 turret on the top side. They're TPing down to the bot lane as well to hopefully stop Cube from taking this. And with a great big TP shield, you would expect him to be prevented, but does just mean that WE say, well, you've left your mid lane undefended. Fellows, we will be taking that one instead. And now actually Top Esports going for a big commit themselves as a return TP from Fengyue. Thought they were going to try and commit a little bit more heavily towards that tier 2 turret. Not going to be the case, as they'll steal a blue buff on the way out. But I do think, Yanni, we've got into the weeds a little bit here. We've got quite sloppy, a little bit messy in this current situation, and Top Esports going to need to wrestle back some control. They have re-amounted a bit of a gold lead here, back up to 3,500 gold, but I think that Baron is going to need to be the next objective with 3 minutes still on the board before their soul spawns. They're going to need to make something happen before then.
The big undertone for that entire sequence, Monki lost his entire top side. He's down about 1,000 gold to NaiYou, and by this point in the game, you would hope that your Viego has more farm than the Vi, that the Vi's the one moving around and making plays happen, but it's been both for NaiYou. He's played a really solid Vi game after getting that early lead. Anything that you can do to keep Monki behind is huge. Good interrupt there from Karis as Creme is tagged up, and he's got no ultimate now, so Team WE are going to have a member advantage for the moment.
Yeah, but what can they actually do with this, right? There's no objective on the board other than that Baron, as JiaQi actually forces About's ulti in the mid lane here. Looks like the culling did a good amount of work. It's Infinity Edge already picked up for JiaQi, and in the current iteration of AD carry, we're seeing a lot of our marksmen need to build toward a last Whisper before they can finish off that Infinity Edge. You can see About does this time round, so Mortal Reminder picked up, so we might be able to get through the Scion that little bit quicker. Black Cleaver has been finished for Cube as well, so there's a little bit of hope there that if the Scion is caught out, that maybe between Monki and About they can cut through this Scion. Picture in picture is what happened in your mid lane. Yeah, Culling just doing a lot of work and does force the ulti out of About.
Cube unable to stop the rampage of 369, 1-4-1. It's a guy that was a big problem for Team WE in their last series. We have yet to see him do much of anything. He needs to step up. Speaking of stepping up, it's time for Top Esports to step up to the plate. We're dividing multiple members of Team WE. Monki is going to get targeted out. Charmed up, big damage. He is locked up, and they throw away the key. And over the top, JiaQi getting on the back line, flashes over the wall. Karis is going to be able to take him out, but also finds himself in a lot of trouble. He goes golden, but Top Esports begins to descend. He'll flash over the wall. Fengyue still alive for the moment, but About's able to clean him up, flashes away from a charge.
Oh, Karis!
Karis breaks some ankles, but he's on a ward, and that's bad news for the Team WE mid laner. Can he lead them on a wild goose chase? Can he break their ankles one more time? Okay. Okay. NaiYou has realized the jig is up. I got you. Don't worry.
As funny as that all is, that probably saves the Baron. I'm gonna be honest. I think if they kill the Aurora super early, it means that they can just walk straight to the Baron. The fact that they take so long chasing her down does mean that Monki has respawned. So overall, as daft as that looks, that's a really big performance from Karis to actually save the play here. As Monki gets absolutely isolated, Fengyue decides you are going to die, gets hit by the charm. Once the charm times out, there's an auto attack from Braum. Once that stun times out, in comes Vi from downtown to sweep you up. JiaQi goes absolutely ludicrous on the backside alongside Creme, and they both do an astronomical amount of work. Look at this fight though down on live. This is the soul for Top Esports if they can find it.
Cube is halfway to Meganar. He really needs to get there. Dragon's going to be started up. He needs to start hitting that. Teleport's going to be coming in from Karis. His Team WE are going to come in through the bot side. Cube is still trying to determine where he needs to go. He is running out of Narbar. He needs to start stacking that up. He's going to hop over, head to the back of the pit, start tagging up NaiYou. NaiYou looking for a big target, and they blow up Team WE in an instant. About has to head for the hills. Karis is dead. Cube isn't able to do a damn thing on the back line either, as JiaQi is low, but he survives. Top Esports aces Team WE.
And they'll get the soul off the back of it as well here, Yanni. Maybe a push up to the top side. A clean 5-4-0 ace. And the Baron is on the menu as well. They'll push in bot side. They'll push in the mid lane. And then they're going to look to two-man the Baron as well. They are looking to have their cake, eat it, and then force the remnants of whatever comes out the other side down the throats of WE.
It was graphic. I mean, I guess that's a great analogy.
I mean, what did they just do? They just 5-4-0'd them.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a great analogy of what happened in this last fight. And I mean, again, a scenario where Cube is not able to make his impact known. Take a look at this replay, where he is compared to everyone else. And look at what Creme does. Creme is so good.
The idea that Karis is marking an Ahri it just doesn't exist. He's quite easily able to hop over the wall, and now Karis, he's got no spells, so he proto belts the ultis, and by the time his next Q comes back up, he's already died. About, does as much as he can, but Creme managing to land that charm in a pivotal moment does keep himself ready from it, and I think that from here, Top Esports, right, they were in a position where they needed to push the pace of the game. They have now found their soul, they have found Baron, and as long as they close this game out, they should be absolutely fine. Send us to a 2-0 to begin with. WE just haven't quite been able to find their feet in this series just yet. Looks like they're going to have one game or so more to be able to do it, but this is what I'm talking about. Let's look at the damage that the cannon minions are doing, let alone anything else.
Creme drops his ultimate down. Yaoyao is low. Yaoyao is dead. About has to use his ultimate defensively as Karis is getting crit. Top Esports are shredding the base. Meanwhile, hold on, Cube is just going to die to NaiYou and 369. That's it. Yeah. That's game.
And as long as they can close out, that's exactly what they've done here, Yanni.
Okay, oh my goodness!
Headshots.
About gets slammed by 369, and Team WE gets slammed by Top Esports here in Game 2. Match point to Top Esports.
And this match ends 14,000 gold in the lead for Top Esports. There was no close early game, there was no close mid game really this time round for Top Esports. It was just all Top Esports from the very get-go. An absolute demolition as they moved with purpose, with ease around Summoner's Rift and never really gave an opportunity to WE.
I'd like to make an early apology, Roodood. I thought you were crazy when you said it was going to be 3-1 Top Esports.
Well,
I thought for sure. Listen, I'm trying to make my prediction come true, all right? I thought for sure that this was going to go 5. But realistically, to be very serious and have a frank discussion about it, these Team WE drafts are just very difficult to execute, and they're not a team that is on that level quite yet. You've been playing in Group Perseverance the entire first split, and Group Perseverance wasn't bad by any means. NIP and EDG certainly showed they were a team that, had strengths and exposable weaknesses, but it's not like we're playing a Group Ascend. We are playing against the best of the best like Top Esports was, and compared to the last series, I mean, Top Esports are making it look easy, and it very much looks like they've taken the lessons that they learned from the first time playing against Team WE and their match against JDG, and are really putting it into action here in this best of 5.
Yeah, one of our points coming into this was that Top Esports were really good at punishing when a team made a mistake, and that's kind of how they won game number 1. But game number 2, far from it, right? Like, the WE, again, they fished around a Baron a little bit, but they peeled off within enough time that it wasn't a terminal Giga throw. This time round, it was Top Esports just meticulously working their way through the game, making sure that they were finding themselves in the right spots and getting those advantages as and when they needed to. Slowly pushing the pace of the game that little bit quicker, and I really like that for them. It shows that there's that element of growth here, that they're not just capitalizing on their enemies' downfalls, and that actually they're able to generate advantages for themselves.
Right you are, and I was really impressed with the bot lane. Obviously, JiaQi and Fengyue are going to have a bit of an easier time because they're on the Lucian Braum pairing, but although Fengyue moved around pretty good in this particular game, and, again, for the bot lanes that were saying, hey, we need to see them make an impact, the one player I didn't see make an impact out of this bot lane was About, and it is very difficult for About to get a lot done in this particular draft. Obviously, he's got this eye to protect himself against the vibe, but he didn't really have to use it for the vibe because he was just such a small fry target that they didn't care.
And I think as well, it's important to remember that a large amount of those times, his ulti was getting burned by JiaQi, who in this game felt like an absolute menace on the Lucian, was very frequently a point of concern. If I'm looking at this from the perspective of a WE player, and in particular from the perspective of About, he was constantly getting his ulti burned just in 1v1s on mid lane. And those have been the problems of JiaQi, is that he looks for these mid lane plays, but in an instance where you're ahead, where your team are backing you up, it works out for him, and you're absolutely able to find those picks, to look for the ultis early on, and do what exactly happened in this game.
There are so many problems for Team WE right now. The car that cannot get started, they tried to They tried to turn the ignition, and the entire dash just lit up with problems here today. They need to fix these problems very, very quickly. I've been very disappointed by our solo laners in this series so far on the side of Team WE. I don't think Karis made much of an impact in this game.
No.
Scoreline looked fine, but he kept himself out of danger most of the time. So I'm not putting any stock into that. But Cube especially, I mean, has been really brutal, and I hate to go after players, but I mean, we are teleporting as small boy Gnar in the middle of 5 people. What are we doing?
Making poor decisions, I think, is the only way we can answer that question. And you know, sometimes that's going to happen here. I do want to, you know, give the little bit of credit over to the players on WE that do deserve it. I think this is going to be a great little montage for it as well. Monki had a tough time of things just because NaiYou was doing so much work on the map, and despite all of that, he's still able to find a triple kill in this topside fight, really look to capitalize quite aggressively on some of the mispositionings. But then as soon as this fight is sort of recognized, you can see, okay, WE now are a Monki show. We need to kill this Viego or we might struggle. As soon as they do that, the fight is just so easy from there.
And like, you see Cube show up, immediately get locked up, isn't able to get any value out of this teleport here. I mean, this is just a continuing trend that, I mean, good on not 369, no, good on Top Esports for marking that and being well aware of that. We saw this replay very recently, a nice play by Creme to just outplay Karis, and that's kind of been the name of the series. It's the solo laners of Top Esports outplaying the solo laners of Team WE so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit, not necessarily sad to say, but sort of in expectation. We were saying,
disappointing.
You know, Top Esports with Creme in particular, we were looking at him to see if he can continue his step up, continue this third team All-Pro ballot that he won and proved to be that good. I think that game number 1, obviously he earned the MVP. Game number 2 here on the RE, maybe not quite worthy of the MVP performance, but there were a couple of charms that went wide. It wasn't for a fault of his own that he's not going to win this. He just wasn't the best player on his team this time round. Many more pieces, and I think that JiaQi actually this time round, my vote, my nod to the MVP, because he was just doing so much work, getting a bout caught out, making his life as pretty much difficult as possible, and then moving through the rest of the game without really any difficulty.
Interesting. I think I'd vote for NaiYou before I voted for JiaQi, but I definitely think JiaQi is a good shout. I would certainly not be upset to see him get votes, but I think NaiYou kind of ran over this early game, and, you know, he does have a pretty easy assignment on the Vi. Hey, go hit the priority target. Go drop your R on top of Viego and call it a day. And it's exactly what he did. He's got the pretty score line to show for it as well. 13-2-8, your player of the game, as he was able to lead Top Esports to a Game 2 victory. Roodood, backs are against the wall for Team WE. Top Esports is 1 game away from keeping themselves alive in playoffs, and maybe their hopes to stay alive for another first stand berth. Team WE, they have to wake up. We're going to go and take a break. It could be our last break of the night, Roodood, as we will be back. Top Esports Team WE draft for Game 3 coming at you after this.